Hi, these comments are for DO, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for OTC, the online TOEFL course, and you're one of my 30-day TOEFL writing boot camp students, and you just sent me, I think it's the seventh or the eighth essay in about a week. And you want me to go ahead and score it and give you an idea where you are, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. And keep up the good work. Let's take a look at the essay that you wrote here. So the actual writing topic, let's take a look at it. It is generally agreed that society benefits from the work of its members. Compare the contributions of artists to society with the contributions of scientists to society. Which type of contribution do you think is valued more by society? Give specific reasons to support your answer. Okay, let's see how we did here. I'm going to read the whole thing, then I'm going to give you my score, my justification on that, okay? So since the beginning of human civilization, people have begun specialization. Those who were good at making pottery became artisans, and those who were skilled at fighting became warriors. Now, I want you to review what's called restrictive and non-restrictive elements. You do not need commas with these two adjective clauses here. So I want you to review that and see if you can figure out why. Go to Google, put using commas with restrictive or non-restrictive elements. Okay, as society became more modernized, people with different skills took upon various jobs that could better suit them, which has benefited the world in many areas. Recently, a debate has been brought about regarding whether the works of artists or scientists are valued more. While opponents might claim otherwise, in my opinion, the contributions of artists are valued more by society. This is because artists are more popular among the masses, and artists receive a great amount of money for their work. Now, I've never seen anyone argue it this way, and you actually have a pretty good argument. Say, firstly, artists are more recognized in society than scientists. It is undoubtedly true that artists are one of the most popular kinds of jobs within society. People often surf the internet about the news of artists, and they watch their music videos in their free time. Well, most people would easily be able to name a handful of artists within a few seconds. Many would have trouble naming a few prominent contemporary scientists. This clearly shows how artists are more exposed to modern day people compared to scientists. For example, during New Year's, I was able to recognize all the famous singers that came out in the Grammys, such as Sam Smith, Ariana Grande, and Billie Eilish. So this is actually one name, right? You say, yet, when I read magazines from Science magazine, I was embarrassed to claim I was unable to recognize a single one of the scientists, and this goes the same for all of my friends. This example clearly showcases how artists have more name recognition than the scientists. Thus, it would not be wrong to assert that artists are valued more. Wow, interesting argument. It's true. Ask me to name a scientist, I'm like, blah, 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 what? I don't know. Ask me to name an artist, I can come up with a name quickly. Good argument. Okay, secondly, art pieces are often auctioned for a high amount of money. Many artists receive a lot of money for their work, which can easily exceed $1 million, yet many scientists are not given that much money unless they earn the Nobel Prize. You put much twice there, which too does not surmount $1 million. This shows how much artists' works are valued more within the current capitalist society, in which people receive money to match the market value within society. For example, 2 years ago, I read an article about David Hockey, an eminent British artist. His piece, The Portrait of an Artist, painting that depicts a man, his piece, The Portrait of an Artist painting, yeah, you're having some problems with punctuation in here. Be careful. Says depicts a man looking in a swimming pool, was auctioned for $800 million. Yeah, I think you went through my lesson on commas and went crazy. Be careful. It says, indeed, it's extremely unlikely scientists would ever receive this much money, even if their work is groundbreaking, which proves that artists are more valued than scientists. According to my New Year's experience and reading about David Hockney, I believe that artists are more valued within society than scientists. This is because artists are more popular than scientists and receive much more money than scientists. Therefore, nothing in my mind outweighs the contentions placed above. Okay, this is a tough one. I like a lot of the language used, the sentence structure, the vocabulary. However, I think you're going to have some problems with this essay. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments at YouTube calling me crazy and this and that, and you look like George Bush and blah, blah, blah. But listen, the question here is to compare the work of artists with the work of scientists, right? To compare them, I think. So first, you need to talk about how artists contribute to society. Then secondly, you should talk about how scientists contribute to society. And finally, you should talk about which one you value more and why. That's what the writing prompt says. So technically, you organized it more as why artists are more valued, and you developed that in 2 paragraphs, but you didn't really neutrally talk about the two types of people. That's the problem I have with this one. So it says, 5, effectively addresses the topic and task. You must do all of the following. The answer is no, you didn't do that. Number 4, addresses the topic and task well, though some points may not be fully elaborated. I'm going to say still no. You really did not address the topic very well this time. So you're getting thrown off by the compare and contrast type organization. Now, 3, it says, addresses a topic and task using somewhat developed explanations. I'm going to put you at a 3.75 out of 5. Now, you know I would have given you a perfect score had you directly addressed the writing task. I would have scored you a perfect score. So I'm going to put you at 3.75 out of 5. I'm going to put you at 24 points out of 30 on this. I think the main thing is, in this second paragraph, you talk about the value of artists in society, right? And then in this paragraph, you talk about how scientists are valued by society. And then you got a really big fat paragraph on why artists are more valued, right? I think to get 4 out of 4 or 30 points out of 30, you needed to do that, but you did not. Okay, so what can you learn from this? You want to learn that you need to look at the writing task. You need to figure out what that writing task is, and then very directly and very explicitly, you must answer that task in the way that it's framed. You can't change your structure because you don't like the writing task. So either, I'm guessing you misread it, you didn't know what to do with it, you weren't sure about it, so be careful. Now, I know and you know, I really believe that you can get a perfect writing score. I know you can do this, Dio. But when you get on the TOEFL, remember, don't just memorize a certain structure and then try to use it for every single writing prompt. Don't do that. Because you don't know what the writing topic is going to be. Well, I can guess, Michael. Everybody knows what it is. Well, you never know. The TOEFL is always trying to change things, right? So whatever that topic is, you need to read it, you need to understand it, and then write accordingly based on the requirements of that task. That's exactly what you can learn from this. Okay, so let's take a look at the model I put over at my website. So if you look at the second paragraph, it says artists, painters, writers, architects, designers have contributed much to our living environment and culture. Blah, 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 blah. Then it says scientists have benefited society, blah, 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 blah. And then it says, I think our society is lucky to have contributions from artists as well as scientists, blah, 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 blah. So I think that's what you needed to do in those two body paragraphs. Talk about the contributions of artists, then the contributions of scientists, and then in the final paragraph explain your position and why. And you would have gotten, I'm not kidding you, I would have given you 4.0 out of 4 or 30 points out of 30 because you got the grammar, I think, and the vocabulary to get that high score. But there's one minor problem I want you to review right now: punctuation. When to use commas. So, Dio, go over to my website to the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. I want you to take a look at punctuation. It's in the grammar part of my course, and review where it says when to use commas and when not to use commas. It's like grammar lesson number 29 or grammar lesson number 30, one of those. All right, and thank you for doing this writing practice test.